Pop a balloon, crisscross your applesauce, and grab some animal cookies to go because you are in for a treat. Welcome one and all to CommentForce number 39. I'm your host, Zach from SwitchForce. I've got Gabe from the Lone Ghost Farm. Gabe, how's it going down on the farm?
It's going well. The animals are all corralled. They are not going anywhere. They are safe. They're indoors, so the incoming storm will have no effect on them, and they're healthy and happy. Spoke to them.
Wonderful. And, you know, your farm has a reputation for a lone ghost, you know, hence the name of the farm. So what is it like being part of a haunted crop yard?
At first, it was a little weird, but then, you know, once I found out that the ghost likes cooking and cleaning, I'm used to it. I wouldn't have it any other way at this point.
Well, that's great, and we wouldn't have this show any other way because it's all about your comments, your questions, your thoughts, your theories, your feedback, your advice, your requests, and maybe even some story time. So that is what we're going to do on this pre-40 episode. No, we are not 40 years old. CommentForce is about to be 40 weeks old, and that's pretty darn exciting. So thanks for being a part of it all the while. I feel like our weeks were full of Thanksgiving. And my life right now is a highway, and I am zigzagging along. Gabe, what kind of road is your life?
It's the opposite of a zigzag. It's a very straight, very narrow line or street. It doesn't make a lot of turns. It's kind of consistent. It's a certain way, and it's not changing a whole lot for the better and for the worse, I guess. So,
you're driving down a very narrow alley between two very huge Walmarts.
Yeah, I don't.
So long.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, no wiggling.
No.
Gabe's motto for the week is no wiggling, and my motto is lot of wiggle. I just wiggling too much. So we're gonna try and straighten me out here with Potterhead02 and Gabe's subsequent answer. He says, "We've heard so many hints about Gabe, from his car to his many cousins. Can we maybe get a special funny story about the legendary boy?"
A funny story about me?
Funny story about you.
I feel like you should tell a funny... I mean, I don't have funny stories. I mean, to me, these things aren't funny. It's just my life. Do you have any funny stories about me?
I have a lot of funny stories. I don't know how many of them I should tell.
I don't care. Say what you want to say.
Okay. Here's a funny Gabe story. One time, Gabe was on a podcast with me, and he was so terrified of ketchup that I had in my hand that he hung up.
I wasn't terrified. There you go, spreading false information. Fake news is going on right now before your very ears, people. I'm not terrified of it. It's disgusting.
One time, Gabe was trying to come to my house to record and prep for SwitchForce, and he left his wallet and his cell phone in the airport bathroom during a connection and came to my house with no way to get back.
People are going to think that these are not true, but they're very true.
These are very true.
You got one more? These are funny.
One final one. Gabe really likes to sleep while holding a pillow in front of him. Oh, that's the best one. Gabe and Jake, I'll wrap both you out, are deep sleep moaners. They both make strange sounds while they sleep.
These are also true.
In the same vicinity as both of these people, I can attest that it is interesting.
There you go, Potterhead. You got a couple interesting stories about me. If you guys want to know more, ask next week, I guess. There's a bunch more now that I think about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stories about you.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the Switch stories.
All right. Michael Solian says, EA should take notes. With free updates like this, Nintendo are building a fan base who will come back for later installments. This also applies to ARMS, which has received several free updates. They could have charged for this content, but they rather build goodwill with customers, it seems. Not a bad idea at all. This is in reference to the new Splatoon update, which I played a little bit of last night. People are really good at that game.
They are.
I've been thinking about turning motion control on just to see if that's what's wrong with me, or maybe I'm just terrible. Doesn't matter. But yes, Nintendo does have a very good business model going with these, like, I was going to say constant free updates, but these frequent free updates. There's enough of them, and they're big enough that they're exciting every time that they happen. At least these bigger ones, because yeah, they have, you know, a weapon or something that they'll release, and you know that's not as exciting for me. But this big one that like kind of dramatically changes the way people play the game. Not even something as simple as just being able to like change your loadout or something like in between matches without having to like go all the way back out to the menu. Like that itself, while something very rudimentary and simple that probably should have been in the game from the beginning, that's a very cool update.
Yeah, I think they've done a fantastic job. And, a lot of people for years have criticized Nintendo for their online service. And I know that these are sort of parallel and not directly intersecting concepts, but I do feel like on the update and the DLC and sort of the continued support side of things, they really are a step above. And maybe they don't have all the features that we want in terms of, easy voice chat and whatnot, but the fact that they are making consistent improvements to the game, notable improvements, and notable additions, I think is something that is really great. And for the most part, these are free. Yes, a game like Zelda Breath of the Wild does have Season Pass, and Mario plus Rabbids Season Pass, but a lot of the patches are coming in for free, like with Splatoon 2. So many nice updates that really make that game just sing. It sings beautifully now, Gabe.
Well, Splatoon is getting new modes and new maps and stuff, so that it's not just a patch.
No, I know. I'm just saying, but the fact that even things like allowing you to now change your gear in between rounds, like that's a huge update that greatly improves the enjoyment of that game.
Sure. Yeah, Nintendo does a great job with this stuff. I have no disagreement there. And yes, EA, take notes.
Take a lot of notes. Pokemon Master Dylan has taken a lot of notes in his life. That's how he became Pokemon Master. And he says if they do make an upgraded Switch, it has to have 3 things. 1, better battery life. 2, better storage space, triple the amount of space. And 3, better resolution.
Wait, hold on. If you triple the amount of storage space, that's still not a whole lot of storage space, buddy.
So it would take it to, 96 gigs?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I want to do, Gabe.
Okay.
All of these things are things that, yes, in an upgrade we would expect. Which one of them, though, could you do without? If you had to nix one of these from an upgraded Switch, which would you be okay or want to eliminate?
Don't hate me, people. The storage. You could just buy storage.
Yeah.
Like, you can't buy better battery life. Like, yeah, you can get, like the battery banks, and those kind of work okay, but for the most part, no. Better resolution, that one's, a necessity to me. But storage space, like, there was just a sale for Black Friday for, like, $27 for 128 gigs. So, yeah, I feel like hopefully a lot of people got an opportunity to finally get their storage there. So that's the one I would get rid of. What about you?
This might be blasphemous, but I would get rid of battery life. I can't think of a time where I've run into a situation where I've been doomed by battery life. I find it easy to charge.
I have. Well, I mean,
yeah.
When I go to the airport, they usually send me right around midnight, and I have to wait like hours and hours and hours before I get on my plane. So
yeah. I mean, and again, it's for different people, but like I don't like not having okay, because with some of these new games, especially the third parties, you have to clear like some onboard memory or whatever. Like, it's just
sure, but you can get an SD card.
Yes, yeah.
You can't get better battery. Like one of those has a solution, the other one doesn't.
Yeah, I guess I would just feel better knowing that the system itself supported that, and I didn't have to worry about like switching sources or switching cards. And to me, the battery life has been a-okay, but. At least we know that better resolution is something we both assuredly want.
Yeah. Let's see what Gazensha Fox wants. It says predictions for next year. That isn't announced as coming next year. So on top of Fire Emblem, Kirby, and Yoshi. Number 1, Animal Crossing. Number 2.
Well, before you go forward, let's go through these and say if we think it's likely. Oh, let's do 4. We'll do happening, likely, unlikely, or no chance.
Animal Crossing? Likely. Are you going to?
I'm going to say unlikely.
Okay, we'll keep going. One of WarioWare or Mario Party 11. Unlikely.
And I will say likely.
Pikmin 4. Likely.
Happening.
Mario Maker 2 or another Maker game. Likely.
Unlikely.
New IP. Happening,
yeah.
Yeah. Last one here. Port of at least one Smash Brothers 4, Tropical Freeze, or Captain Toad. Like, we're not. I'm laughing at Captain Toad because I hate Toad still. Unlikely. Wait. Just Smash.
I'm-
Smash is the one I think we get. I think the
Yeah,
other ones are highly unlikely.
I'm gonna say unlikely for the trio of them. But I will say that Gazentia Fox, those are pretty solid predictions, given that none of us said like no chance to any of these.
We will have a predictions video towards mid-December. Maybe we'll ask a bunch of you guys your predictions, and we'll make a video talking
Specifically,
about talking about what you guys think. But we can move along now.
Good calls, you fancy fox. El Chupacabra 06, keeping along with the animal theme, says, remember that 1 year ago we had absolutely no clue that a game like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was already in development for the Switch and would come out in its first 9 months. If Monolith Soft could pull that off, I am confident Game Freak can pull it off with Pokemon as well. And this speaks to Gabe always saying that they haven't shown anything, there's no way it could be ready.
Wait,
but
do you not see the difference? Because
there's
a very clear difference.
The very clear difference is that one is was being hush-hushed because of an impending launch reveal, and one is coming out in the midst of an already existing console life cycle.
There's more of a difference. One has been in development for a long time. And by a long time, I mean a year plus. More than that.
But we did not know that at the time.
No, of course not. Okay, I don't know, maybe if you have a little bit more details about this than I do. Game Freak is not like a it's not like Bungie levels of like development staff. Like there's not like hundreds of people there. It's relatively small. They've been making a certain type of game for a very long time. So and they've said that they want the Switch version to be different. That they're thinking of what they can do to break the mold. That is something that Game Freak has come out and said. I think they're still working on it. I don't think this game has been in development for very long. Again, smaller development team. I think they were working on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And
I think Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon was, a B team for sure.
It's possible. This is all speculation. And it would be fantastic if Pokemon came out next year. I just really don't think it will. But here's the other thing I remembered. Because I've been playing... I can say I've been playing the game. I remember when I said I didn't think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was coming this year. Remember, I said that. I'm perfectly cool being wrong. I've been wrong.
Sure.
So now that I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I can't... we'll have impressions on it soon. Because, again, we can talk about the first, few hours. Yeah, like, is it set in stone that Pokemon's not coming next year? No, but just, it's my opinion that I don't think it is. That's it.
I think another thing to consider is that Nintendo has very close ties to Game Freak, and my guess is as soon as there were Switch dev kits that they were sent over, whether they actually started developing or just messing around. But I'm sure they've had experience and some tests on the Switch since the beginning.
Can the same thing not be said for Monolith Soft?
Absolutely. I'm just saying, like I don't think it's like, Game Freak inquired at E3 and said, could we try the Switch?
No. But Game Freak, to my knowledge, has never, like, assuming that this is like a big, like, 3D game. If the game's 3D, like, that's not something Game Freak is used to, right?
Sure. So, I'm just saying, say that they got a dev kit. I'm making this up. This is not set in stone. But say they got it late 2016. Late 2018 would be 2 years. I think that's doable.
I mean, sure. At this point, I hate to sound so mean. At this point, I don't care. Like, I really hope Pokemon comes next year. I really, really hope so. But like, that's fine. I just have a different opinion. I'm okay with that.
All right, let's see what Ari wants.
Ari, what do you want, Ari? Tell me. Ari Gold, if anybody from the hit show Entourage, one of the funniest characters ever, says. Is a 128 gig SD card good enough for the Switch? I plan on getting physical versions of games if possible, but even then, I don't know if the memory would last. Any advice? I have advice.
I think that's plenty.
I disagree.
Oh.
We both have 128 gigs on our Switch. That was the very first SD cards that we got for Switch Force, and at the time I thought it was going to be plenty, just because the file sizes were so small. But since then, they have ballooned. And me dragging this sentence along is happening for a reason, I promise. I just grabbed my Switch, and I have 12 gigs left on that 128 gig SD card. Now, I do probably get and play more games than a lot of other people are going to. But things like Doom, things like LA Noire, those things are going to balloon. Skyrim's another big one. So if enough of these, third-party games continue to come up. Wolfenstein 2 is another one that's coming next year that will probably take up a significant amount of space. 128 gigs is going to run out.
Yes. Now, I will remind people that a lot of the early games and a lot of the Nintendo games are in the 2 to 6 gig range, which keeps them very small, and you could store a lot. Also, Gabe, how many physical Switch games do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, 6. So, granted, we play a ton of games, but I'd say you probably have 50 Switch games, and 6 of them are physical, whereas Ari here says he plans on getting physical versions if possible. Therefore, that 128 is mostly going to be used for, obviously, yes, the extra downloads for games like L.A. Noire or Doom, but indies and eShop games, which will push that 128 a lot farther.
Yeah, I mean, I think 128 gigs is like probably fine. Like, if you're like strapped for cash or something, get it. You could probably even deal with a 64 gig, honestly.
Plus, you can move games. You know, if you're done with something, like if you've played enough of Mr. Shifty, you know, dump it. If you beat Mario plus Rabbids and don't want to go back, dump it. You know,
and dump Snake Pass no matter what. I just like I'm
joking.
I'm
moving on before we
I'm joking.
Offend all of the
No,
Cobras and the Cobra Kai clan.
No, I'm joking. But
in the Cobra Kai dojo.
Now that we're talking about it, maybe I'm switching my stance. 128 gig might be enough, dude. It might. Especially like Zach said, you can delete some of the stuff, like games that you probably like Sonic Forces. I can probably like if I had downloaded, because I have that one physical.
Just delete the physical cartridge too.
Yeah, just break it. No, you're a fan of the Sonic fans. That's an even more rowdier bunch. But
128 is good.
Yeah, okay, that's where we're falling. Go ahead.
Mark Andrews says, I'm 31 years old, not closing in on 40, but much older than most of your subscribers, I reckon.
You're wrong.
We looked into this.
Can I stop very quickly before we continue?
Yeah.
A lot of you are way older than we thought.
A lot of old boys I'm gonna old girls.
All right, finish the comment, and then I'll get into the analytics. Go ahead.
Sure. He says, in regards to the Christopher Toro comment, which was about, I believe it was regarding the difference between like subscription for Virtual Console versus buying. Mark says, as a child, renting games was the norm.
Yawning is also a norm. Don't worry about it, guys.
I'm getting old too here. It wasn't just I'm getting old before your ears. It wasn't just Blockbusters. There were loads of mom and pop shop type rental stores. This was basically the only way the majority of my friends could play newer games. We'd get the console, usually with a pack-in game for Christmas, and we'd need to wait until our birthday or next Christmas for some more games. We would rent games most weekends for 5 to 7 nights for about £3 over there in England. We'd get somewhere between 3 to 5 games per month. This was the norm for me and everybody I knew. Now that save data is saved to the console, you can rent a game with the Game Pass and then re-rent it when you want and continue where you left off. I can only see this as a positive thing. I am not a collector. I don't buy games to put them on my pretty shelf. I buy them to play them, and if Game Pass can save me some money doing this, I'll do it, which is an interesting way, like to view the subscription model as a rental service instead of like a Netflix. I think our current mindset is like, oh, subscription, Netflix, Hulu, you know, whatever, but to view it more as like a rental, and if you were spending like $10 a month and getting to rent unlimited games,
yeah,
like that's a steal of a deal.
There's a lot I want to get into here. Number one, for the analytics, just because I mentioned it. 43% of the viewers are 25 to 34 years old. No, that's by far the biggest. 18 to 24 is 26%. We even have 1.1% of people that are 65 plus years old, according to YouTube. So we recognize that there are older people here, 45 to 50-year-old, 5.2% of the audience. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought those numbers were interesting. Second of all, video game rentals were a huge part of my childhood as well. Zach's heard me mention Top Video, which was this local mom and pop shop that wouldn't even make us like pay for our stuff right away. You can go pick up a game and tell them, hey, I'll pay you later. And they'd be like, okay.
Real Wild West down there in Texas.
This was a real thing. You walk in there and pick the game and say, hey, I'll pay you later. And they'll be like, okay, bye. And you just go home, bring it back, you know, days later. And they're like, hey, you want to pay us now? And yeah, at that point you have to pay them. But yeah, that, you know, your comment was so nostalgic for me, Mark, just because so much of my childhood was exactly what you describe. And I completely agree with the Game Pass thing. I don't mind subscriptions as much as everybody else seems to. But if you do look at it that way as rentals instead of like, hey, you know, Netflix, I think this is totally cool.
Well, because, you know, I think at some level, the digital age ownership dilemma is clouding this, because this isn't even, that really doesn't deal with that. It is more of a rental service. And would you like to, quote, own it? Which, if you want to get granular. You don't really even own it because it's going to be a digital purchase. And then renting it, I don't know. I don't see anything offensive about a rental service, and I still kind of think it'd be fun.
Same here. I'll move on
right.
to Chaz the Spaz. Good name. Hi, Switch Force. Recently, I think I've convinced about 10 or 15 people to buy a Switch. What?
It's a lot of people.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at me. Recently,
No, that's a ton of sales, dude. You should call up Nintendo and be like, I just banked you $4,500.
To buy a Switch with relative ease. I am not 40, but at least 2 of the people on the list are over 40. And I'm quite shocked after defending the Wii U for years with little to no results. Additionally, I think it's interesting that the Switch is the only portable Nintendo console that gradually / clearly has a Nintendo Switch branding on it. Big next. What? That's a weird sentence.
Gaudily and clearly has Nintendo Switch branding on it in big text and is easier to notice. The fact that the Switch on the back has the logo so prominently, whereas DS, Game Boy Advance, it was very small. It wasn't something that could show off to a bystander. And the Switch is one that you're holding it and you're playing it, and it's advertising wherever you walk or wherever you sit, which I do think is a nice point that you noticed there, Chaz. And I think it's interesting just how, culturally cool means so much to people. Okay, the Switch and the Wii U, both made by Nintendo, both have many of the same franchises. Yes, the Switch has a cooler gimmick, but it is cool culturally, so people of all ages are into it, whereas the Wii U, even though it had great games and got great reviews, people were like, ew, baby, kids, yuck, dumb, no.
That's how I still live life.
You just go with what's culturally cool?
No, with the ill, babies, yuck.
Yeah,
no, it was a joke.
Gabe Force versus Baby Force. If you're looking to procreate, stay away from Gabe.
Go on.
Gabe, the purpose of life has evaded you.
Go on.
The Fourth Edge. Oh God, Gabe, we're getting good here.
Oh man.
Says, guys, I think there's one game that will probably release next year that could move a lot of units that both of you have forgotten. Fire Emblem. I know a couple of people personally who will get a Switch just for Fire Emblem, and it has a lot of popularity in Japan and the US in recent years. Good call, Fourth Edge. We have forgot about a full-blown Fire Emblem. Obviously, we got Fire Emblem Warriors. Not really sure on sales figures on that one. I don't think that sold very many Switches. I don't know that Fire Emblem is a system seller, but I do see how it could just increase the allure, especially in Japan, and maybe in the US as well. But it's a good note that we are getting that game next year, because it's not like a tentpole title like a Mario or a Zelda or a Metroid or a Pokemon, but it's definitely a second tier of okay, this is a big franchise getting its first full-on new iteration, and hopefully they do some different stuff.
Metroid isn't a tentpole title. Let's not refer to it as such. I know we like to think it is, but it isn't. But yeah, I absolutely think we get Fire Emblem next year. And I 100% forgot. So Fourth Edge, you're finally useful for something. And I don't mean you specifically, by the way, commenter. I mean the Fourth Edge is trash, but that's it.
Do you think that it would be that Metroid and Fire Emblem are in the same tier?
Actually, Fire Emblem might be above it, dude.
Wow.
Hold on. Let me look something up. So talk for a little bit so I can look up, just so I don't sound like a complete idiot. But talk.
All right. Real Comic Kid says, "Hey Switch Force, love your videos. Thanks. I tend to spend a lot of time on my games as I don't get new ones often. I only have Minecraft and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for Switch, both of which I've spent over 50 hours on. I'm planning on purchasing Skyrim soon. I know that Breath of the Wild would last a long time for me, but I was wondering if you guys had any recommendations for some lesser-known games that will last me a long time. Thanks for the great content. You guys are the ones who inspired me to get a Switch." Well, sweet. I would like to go into your sentence and swap Breath of the Wild for Skyrim. I think you'll be far more impressed and happy with Breath of the Wild, given that it's a 2017 game versus a 10 years before 2017. But if Skyrim is your thing, that's okay. They both are games that get
Zach,
a lot of time.
you keep saying that Skyrim is 10 years old, and it's not.
Yes, it is.
Dude, no, it's not.
Look when Skyrim came out while I keep talking. I'm just going to keep talking, Gabe, while you freaking do some research.
All right. Well, here, let me throw the Fire Emblem thing out there.
Hold on. No. We have to talk to Real Comic Kid first.
All right, go ahead.
Lesser known games that are a long time. I don't know if you know about Golf Story or Stardew Valley, but for their price, I mean Stardew Valley in particular, can give you a lot of time. Golf Story isn't super long, but I feel like you can get quite a bit out of it, especially at the price. I would also really recommend Splatoon 2. I think if you get into the multiplayer, there is a lot of content there, and they constantly are adding and updating. I would even say Mario Odyssey, because of the fact that there are so many moons and so many challenges, and once you beat the quote game, there is plenty more to do. I know that's not very lesser known. Gabe, on the indie spectrum, is there any that you could think of?
My brain is all over the place right now. Did you mention Stardew Valley?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and he mentioned Golf Story. Not really, to be honest. Not really.
I would say also the game entitled, it's on sale this week, Mario plus Rabbids is decently long. It's not super long.
You could easily get 20 plus hours out of that game.
Which I feel is a lot. There was one more I was going to pick out.
Don't get Sonic Forces. That's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, don't get Sonic Forces. What was the other game I was going to mention?
I mean, if you can think of it, we'll come back to that. But we already have so much to come back to. All right.
All over the place. Time warp episode.
Yeah, because we're going back to the previous comment now. Absolutely, Fire Emblem is not a bigger franchise than Metroid sales-wise. The reason I even made that statement, which I understand might upset people, is because there's so many more Fire Emblem games. Like, there's a lot of them. And there's not a lot of Metroid games. That's the only thing I meant by that. Fire Emblem does not sell better than Metroid, but Metroid does also not sell super well. So just wanted to throw that out there. Second, to correct you, Skyrim did not release 10 years ago. That game released in 2011, and unless my math is wrong, that is not 10 years.
2000, okay.
November 11, 2011. Remember, that was like a big part of their marketing and everything.
Yeah, that's okay. So 6 years.
Yeah, so because this is like the fourth time you say that Skyrim's 10 years old. And I just wanted to be sure that, hey, it's not.
Depending on the type of player you are, I could say that something like Binding of Isaac could give you a lot of hours. That's something that some people put 100 hours into.
Northern Lion has played thousands of hours of that game.
Yeah, so that's something that you could put a bunch of time into. I would say that...
an upcoming game. And I'm not talking about it for any specific reason, but just because it's a big JRPG, Xenoblade. That's going to be long.
Yeah, I think, any of the Switch games that are more score-based as well, like I still love Graceful Explosion Machine, and that game is very short in terms of like content, but it's incredibly long if you enjoy arcade style, high score chase, beat your best round, leaderboard type games. So I guess a lot of it just kind of depends on where you fall.
I 100% advocate for Xenoblade.
Yeah, I think given the fact you like Minecraft so much and you're interested in Skyrim, I think that Stardew Valley is definitely a must as well.
Okay.
At a smaller price.
Brett Donahue says, yeah, I think Pokemon Switch is most definitely being targeted for a Q4 2018 release, likely November. And of all the big hitters Nintendo still has left in their arsenal, and there is a lot, I think Animal Crossing for Switch in 2018 is most likely, especially going by 3DS sales of New Leaf and the launch of Pocket Camp on mobile. Excuse me. Luigi's Mansion 3 is also a huge possibility on Switch. Don't sleep on that. Also, nobody's talking about this, but I think an SNES remix on Switch, either eShop exclusive or even physical or both, would be a nice surprise. Now with the SNES Classic on the market and selling like crazy, the NES remix on Wii U did very well. I'll take it. You guys should do a video on that. We'll think about it. Actually, we probably will make a video on that. And I've made my stance on Pokemon clear. I'm not going to comment on that any further ever. What else? Animal Crossing,
we talked about. Luigi's Mansion 3, I don't know. I would love that. I don't know if it's a thing, but
yeah,
at this point I would say highly unlikely.
I'm not saying highly unlikely.
But I will say that I think SNES Remix is a good idea. NES Remix was pretty darn fun, and I feel like it would be even more enjoyable with SNES Remix. They brought NES Remix to the 3DS, so it's something that they did port to a handheld. It has good portability given the fact that it's short little bite-sized challenges. and you're right, like getting some of those SNES classic games now in a remix challenge style would be super cool. So I'm all about that. I would love that. I want to do some weird challenges where DK has to do like a freaking 30-second barrel marathon and he's just blazing through the screen and jumping over bees and dodging Kremlings, and it's basically giving Gabe a seizure.
Yeah, I need more of those.
Kid with APC says, hello, I'm an avid watcher but never commented. Do you guys know about Rainway? And if so, are you excited? It's pretty much like a Steam Link for your Switch. Well, hello, Kid with APC. Thank you for commenting. Happy to have you in this episode. Rainway, yes, we know about it. We've been keeping our eyes on it. Gabe, is it something that actually excites you, or are you just interested to see if it works?
It's something that I'm interested to see if Nintendo allows it exist. Like,
yeah, good point.
Yeah, like to me that's the biggest concern, because yes, it's cool, like to play like Cuphead on your Switch, or play what was the other game that was super impressive? The Witcher 3 on your Switch. And to be clear, for those of you that don't know what this is, it's an app that you can have on your Switch that allows you to just stream games directly from your PC to the Switch. So it's all happening based on your internet. The games are not running natively on your Switch or anything like that. You're just streaming them, like he says, like with a Steam Link or NVIDIA Shield to an extent, something like that. So that's what the app is, and I just don't think Nintendo allows it, if I'm being honest.
I mean, they've been developing for quite a while. From a humanistic standpoint, it would suck to see them get it all the way to completion and then get shut down, but you're right. I don't see...
Well, to be clear, they're not only working on it on Switch. Like the app
for sure.
Yeah, the app exists outside of Switch. Like, the app is going to be fine. Yeah. I wish it could live on Switch. I just don't. I don't think Nintendo's going to be okay with you playing, insert first party Microsoft game on here, or like The Witcher 3 and stuff. Especially like, I don't think this is happening, but let's say like Nintendo has a deal for CD Projekt Red to make a Witcher port for Switch. It doesn't behoove them to have you just stream it and not pay for that new game. You know what I mean?
For sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I feel weird about this. I've always been the kind of person that's fascinated with these sorts of tricky methods of conveniences, like people, back in the day, jailbreaking your iPhone and doing this and, blah, blah, blah. But I never really actually used this stuff. It was more just like it can do this. Like, that's cool. I want to see if I can make it do it. Oh, wow. And then like check it out for 20 minutes and then done. So I don't want to be a downer, but I'm not excited for Rainway because I don't foresee myself using it in any capacity. If I'm going to play those games, I'd rather play them in a much more optimal setting.
Yeah, and we're lucky enough to have access to all the consoles and PC and stuff. So yeah, I don't think either of us would use it very much.
Nope.
Mighty Link says, when did Game of the Year become about sales and shareholders? PUBG should not even be nominated. It has no story or unique world or anything that makes it a real game. If PUBG wins Game of the Year, then that just tells me how fixed these Game of the Year awards are. I agree with the overall sentiment of your comment. I disagree with your comment in more tangible ways. It's absolutely a real game.
Yeah, that's the part I was going to pull out. It is a real game. And I don't think a game necessarily has to have a story or a unique world to be considered for the Game of the Year, but I do think that, again, the overall sentiment, like Gabe mentioned, stands. That a game should not win Game of the Year for its hoopla or for its accomplishment. It should win Game of the Year for the game itself. And I think, personally, that PUBG is captivating, but I don't think it is a Game of the Year type game.
I love PUBG. Again, I've played well over 100 hours of it. I mean, I don't even mean to defend PUBG because I don't think it's Game of the Year. I agree with you, but I don't think shareholders who own shares in Bluehole, like again, just certain parts of your comment, like just to me aren't clicking. I absolutely do not think Game of the Year should be dictated by sales, and like I don't think PUBG's gonna win. If I'm honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but I also wanted to touch on this. How much of an indication do we have that these things are fixed? Like,
yikes! I don't know. I mean,
yeah, like this is being voted on by a bunch of people. Like, I personally don't think they're fixed, but as Zach can attest to, I give things a lot of leeway. I need tangible proof before I'm out here.
I've never really seen anything one way or the other. I personally about fixed or unfixed. I just assume it's all legit. And I mean, to me, it being legit is more likely that PUBG wins than fixed, because I think that the masses are behind this game, as shown by the sales and the Steam player counts. But yeah, it does strike a chord with me, especially in an era when single player games are on the out. A lot of companies are saying it's not worth it, and utilizing hype, popularity, sales, critical mass to determine, oh, that's game of the year. I mean, okay, like, I'm trying to think of an original, like, early iPhone game that everybody had. Okay, let's say Temple Run. Just because everyone had Temple Run and everyone played Temple Run and it had clearly a major effect on gaming. Or Happy Wheels, okay, a game like that. Does that make that game of the year? Absolutely not. There are plenty of things that are insanely popular, that are insanely fun, that aren't phenomenal or aren't even great. And I think that separation is tough for some people to make, but I really hope that this year, especially given the caliber of the other games on that list, that we're able to make that distinction and give the award to one of the other nominees. Now, we can argue if it should be a Nintendo game or it shouldn't, but I would be happy to see any of Horizon, Persona, Mario, or Zelda win.
As would I, but I also think that the examples that you gave aren't incredibly apt. I don't think comparing PUBG to like Happy Wheels or Temple Run in any, like,
a fun game that lacks many aspects that make masterpiece games. Is PUBG? I guess it's like categorically.
Like, the category isn't like masterpiece of the year. Like, I mean, it honestly, it does. The category isn't even best game of the year. It's just game of the year.
No, I know, but like, if
like, which game encompass, like, which game, like, maybe we need a separate category that's best game of the year. BGOTY, new category, because I don't think that best is inherently what this award is about. And again, I think
it should be.
I think it should too, but I don't think it is what it is.
I don't know. I actually think PUBG is a.
Did Minecraft ever win Game of the Year? I mean, and by ever, I mean whatever.
I'm sure some sites awarded it game. I don't know that it ever won a major award. I mean, it's kind of difficult because the game has, and that's again the other side of this conversation. Is PUBG up for Game of the Year every year since it's not finished? Is it?
Well, no. PUBG's finished this year. It's coming out this year. Like, it's going to be out of early access in December. From, again, if they're sticking to the roadmap, I don't. There can always be pushbacks, things like that. And that, to me, alone is reason why PUBG should not be Game of the Year. Because it's not finished. It's in early access. I don't think you should ever put an early access game in those conversations, but that's just me.
And I don't want to take anything away from PUBG. I definitely think it's a real game. I definitely think it's a superb experience for plenty of people, even if it's not for me. But it is a mod of another game that isn't really a complete. I don't know. Like, to me, it's a mode. I don't. Like.
See, but the only thing, it's difficult to ignore the impact that it has on video game culture.
For sure, but this is not the most impacting game of 2017.
So, and I guess that's just where we leave off. Like,
yeah. First of all, category, it's called like the game that changed the year.
Yeah, first of all awards are arbitrary, and you guys, and by you guys, I just mean masses. I don't mean you guys listening, because you guys are probably great. People shouldn't put as much stock into any of this. Like,
make your own awards.
Yeah, if PUBG goes and wins Game of the Year, like, I'm not gonna be upset about it. Like, and I feel like you shouldn't be upset about it either. Just like
I will be a little upset, whether that's right or wrong. I don't know, but I will.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, like, who cares? Like,
yeah. That's a good point. Who cares? Well, I care about Atari Dude 1, and he says that I'm 14 years old right now, but I like everything from the 70s and 80s, and I hate 100% of the things from today, excluding the Switch. So in that way, and how I'm literally a mini version of my father who is 47, I consider myself to be somewhere in the range of 45 to 60.
Buddy.
We have a Benjamin Button in our midst.
Hey, can I say some things? You're on YouTube. One, YouTube wasn't around in the 70s and 80s. You're on the internet.
But he likes the Atari.
I'm gonna stop there.
He's literally a mini. I just like he's literally a mini. I just want to see these guys. Like I want to play basketball against them 2-on-2.
I'm 1,000% behind your sentiment, Atari, because everyone says I'm an old man, and people constantly tell me that I think and act like an 80-year-old. But I mean, I don't know. Zach can attest to that better than I can, I guess. Just
old souls, like that's. I think that's a compliment.
No, yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was funny that he's like leaving a comment on YouTube about hating 100% of things from today.
I picture Atari dude like on his Switch and trying to hack it so it can play like Pong and like Asteroids and like these like if he's not playing Mario Odyssey, he's not playing Breath of the Wild, he's playing like Centipede.
Zach, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What age do you consider yourself? Give me a range.
Oh God, I think I have. I think there are different ages for different facets of my personality.
I want to say things.
Can I get an average age?
Just give me a range. What age do you feel right this second?
22.
Good. Okay, because that's where I was gonna go. You're definitely younger than you are. Like
I'm younger looking and younger in spirit. And
yeah. Although the years are coming, I see them. I see them, Zach.
The years are coming. It's depressing.
All right. What age range do you put me in your opinion?
God, you again. Some of your things are small and some of your things are big. I would say like 33.
33. All right. Okay.
But
to be fair, guys, I am not 33. We're both 27 for anyone that doesn't know.
On a lighter note than like the impending doom of aging and misery. Shout out to all the older folk that came and commented. We're grateful to have you, and
we absolutely see the comments.
And we now are going to move into the rest of our week, where we will cover the Switch and the things it says for all of you. And as we did last week, a piece of advice to roll out on, one from me, one from Gabe.
I got mine ready.
Go.
Don't let little things upset you. Little things such as me maybe being wrong about Fire Emblem and Pokemon and Metroid. Don't let all that stuff get to you, man. It's just the little opinions that don't really mean anything. And if PUBG wins Game of the Year, good for them.
All right. I'm going to pull the old adage of giving the advice that you wish you could give to yourself. And that is try not to let one area of your life dominate every other area of your life. Find some stability in living and doing a variety of things and achieving a balance that is healthy so that you don't drive yourself crazy and only enjoy. So starting to sound like I'm like on drugs or something, but I promise that's not the case. I'm just addicted to freaking grape juice. No. No, but like in all seriousness, yeah, balance. Balance is key, and like kind of goes in line with what Gabe said. Like realize that things are going to be okay. Don't over obsess to the point of neurosis and anxiety. Just try to like accept and do what you can to make the situations work as best as you can, and then trust. Have a little faith. Have a little faith in your heart. We're going to hold hands now and sing Kumbaya and carry us off into the week. So thank you so much for watching. This has been CommentForce number 39. We love you all so much. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. We'll be looking at those comments for the next CommentForce. And with that final comment from myself and Gabe, Switch Force